Evening, council, staff, and members of the public. May I have a mover and seconder to call the meeting to order, please? I have Councillor Fisher and Councillor Thompson that the regular meeting of the Council of the Township of Springwater, December 17th, 2025, come to order at 6:47 p.m. All those in favor? And that has carried. Please join me in the singing of O Canada. Councillor, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest this evening? Not seeing any. Before we do move on to our regular meeting, at this time, I would like to invite Hannah Hiller and her family to come join at council, please. And Hannah is our Springwater Holiday Card Contest winner this year. So we have a presentation. So if council would like to join me. Fine. I just wanted to get back up to my microphone. So Miss Hannah, this is going to be hung in our lobby for the entire year. So everybody that comes into Springwater is going to see it. And every Christmas card that is sent from the township will be your drawing that goes out. So thank you so much and congratulations again. I will now call upon the Barrie Soccer Club to present, please. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, Your Worship. Good evening, Council. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Will DeVellis. I'm the Executive Director of the Barrie Soccer Club. I've been with the club for just over 19 years.
David Brophy, I'm Director of Finance. I've been with the club for about 5 years now.
So I just wanted to start by sharing a little information about the club. The club's been around since 1968, just over at 7 Curry Drive in Midhurst here. We have just over 4,000 members that play for the soccer club. Approximately 25% of that, or just 1,000 or just a little more, do live in the township of Springwater. We try and provide services that are inclusive of all sexes and races and religion. We really rely on our club values to make sure that we are doing the right thing. So when we talk about our club's guiding principles, we do everything with integrity in all we do, transparency in all communication, accountability in our actions, ethical leadership. And when we talk about ethical leadership, we have a board of directors that has just over 120 years of experience with the board, with the club, whether it be on the board as coaches, assistant coaches, managers, and so on. And other guiding principles are commitment to fair play and inclusivity. You see on the wall, our club motto is "We are one." #We are one. Our teams wear that proudly on our jerseys, and it is something that we definitely try and live by with everything that we do at our club. We talk a little bit about the profile of soccer in sport itself. There's just over 1 million youth participants in the game within Canada. 16% of children ages 3 to 17 play the game of soccer. What we understand and what we know is that growth even here in the township of Springwater, in the Midhurst and Springwater area, is growing within those populations, especially over the next few years. We know that soccer is one of the most cost-effective and most accessible sports that there is in our country. When we talk about community engagement, what we can say is in regards to our club, we have been growing at a clip of about 27% over the last 3 years, year over year, continuously growing. One of the things that we struggle with is facilities, and having to travel outside of the city of Barrie to accommodate a lot of the players that want to continue to play the game full year round. When we talk about our partnership with the Township of Springwater, being that we are a constituent, we are the largest users of your Tree Nursery Sports Park over the last few years. We continue to operate one of the largest soccer tournaments in the province of Ontario, bringing in close to $750,000 in estimated financial benefit for the community and surrounding area. We do bring in almost over 2,000 families per year on that particular weekend, not including throughout the entire year in our league play. What we also know is that 2026 is an incredible year for the sport of soccer with the 2026 World Cup coming to Canada. It's projected to drive over $2 billion in GDP growth in Canada. From a club standpoint, and I'm sure that we won't be the only club that will continue to see growth in the game because of the World Cup. I'm sure we all remember when the Raptors won the NBA championship. We know for a fact that basketball, registrations exploded. We are, again, as I said, growing at 27%, and that's without the World Cup. Now that the World Cup is coming, we know that we're going to continue to see growth, especially if all goes well and Canada does exceptionally well. So I'll turn that over to you, Dave.
Sure. Thank you. Before we do begin, can we identify what slide number you're on so that we can
Yes.
catch up the deck? And as we turn through it, if you can just ask for next slide.
Number 9. So flip through to the one that says the initiative. One more. There we go. That's it right there. So why are we in front of you guys today? So we're asking and looking for a public-private partnership with the Township of Springwater to help us improve our facilities. What that looks like right now is we're asking for a limited time guarantee, so only a certain number of years, to assist us with the capital expenditures to build an all-season fields and a dome at our facility. It's about a $7 million cost to build out this new plan. We are asking for a guarantee for up to $6.5 million to build, with us putting in $500,000 of cash ourselves on top of the $4 million in equity that we have in the land already at 7 Curry Drive. We, the club, would operate these facilities as multi-use. Yeah, we've talked about soccer a lot already today, But the intention here is the actual club will only operate about maybe 30 to 40% of prime time, so evenings and weekends, with the remaining component 60 to 70% available for other sports, being football, baseball, etc. We would also open the clubhouse to have local meetings for members of Springwater as well. We would also look at a possible rebrand of our actual club. Right now, we are called the Barrie Soccer Club. We would look to rebrand ourselves as the Barrie Springwater Soccer Club. We've been in existence for 58 years, so this is a big evolution for us. If you'll notice on the screen as well, we've kind of already had our marketing people mock up what the logo would look like as well. What does this actually accomplish? So what it would do is it would immediately increase recreational options here in Springwater. We are looking to break ground in 2026, spring of 2026, with occupancy in winter of 2026. It obviously addresses a massive infrastructure gap, considering the participation rate of actual soccer. Current demand right now is about 450 players per hour needing facilities in this community. And we only have one facility that does that right now, and it supports about 30 players per hour. It also obviously supports youth sport across the region. As I alluded to earlier, baseball, lacrosse, football. We've already had letters of interest from all of these separate clubs about potentially renting space from us as well. It would obviously project to increase youth engagement in sport as well. We put the number, we've got 4,000 soccer players alone right now at the club. So we look at that as upwards of 8,000 players in different sports. It also would allow for third-party management of the actual improvement and management thereafter. So the township is then benefiting with more recreational options, with the target obviously completing this in 2026. It's interesting as well, similar concepts have already broken ground. So this proof of concept has happened where a municipality has provided a guarantee to a club, a not-for-profit club like ourselves. Vaughan just recently did this. The difference between the city of Vaughan and here, the city of Vaughan provided a 100% guarantee for the actual expansion. We're not asking for that level of guarantee. So some other kind of key things, the growth that we've already talked about, we actually had to turn away youth this year because we don't have enough facilities right now. Interesting dynamic between everyone thinks of us as a hockey culture. Soccer actually has more participants in Canada now than actually hockey. If you think about Simcoe County, there is one dome facility, and there's 40 covered rinks, right? So it's a 40-to-1 ratio, and we have 8,000 soccer players in this region versus arguably around 2,000 hockey players, right? So there's a massive infrastructure gap there. As I said before, the actual property would remain under our ownership and management, and which would help limit the liability for the township, and also obviously insulating the township from doing a large time-consuming public procurement process to actually build this in an expedited fashion. Some other benefits for the township. So enhanced community engagement, and it shows the council's commitment to community health, infrastructure improvement, and youth development. It would be the only indoor facility of this kind in the county. There is a dome in Barrie proper, but it's a small dome that cannot actually encompass a full 11v11 size pitch. If you think about the actual dome in Barrie, we're basically 3 times the size of it, is what we're proposing here. It also provides a year-round weatherproof multi-use facility. And obviously, as we noted, no other facilities like this exist in the neighboring communities right now. It would also become a community hub in the region as well. So we've had some renderings done here. So if we kind of flip to the next slide, so the project. So you can kind of see here what it is. It's 2 synthetic hybrid grass surface fields, so turf. It's about 129,000 square feet. Each one, call it 65,000 square feet, okay? One that would have a permanent dome, okay? And then one that would be not have a permanent dome on it. We'd expand our parking from 56 spaces right now to anywhere probably 80 to 100. and it's going to take about 6 to 9 months to actually complete. Interestingly enough, Colliers, we had Colliers come in the summertime to give us an appraisal on what our property is worth right now. As we alluded to, our property in its current state is worth about $4 million. In its future state, so once it has the all-season fields and dome, it's worth about 6.1. And then we had it actually appraised if it was rezoned in an example where the township took back the property, it would be worth its $7 million if it was rezoned as a medium density property. So we've made the effort to partner with some of the best experts in the world when it comes to this. So right now we've engaged the landscape architects is called MBTW. So they've done BMO Field, they've done Ontario Soccer Center, they've done the TFC practice and training facility, Friday Harbor, just to name a few. So there are landscape architects that are doing all of the design. Then we've got the general contractor is called Richfield Inc. He's built the University of Guelph Alumni Stadium and Field, York University, Queen's University Richardson Stadium Field, Woodbridge Soccer Dome, and actually here in Orangeville, well, fairly close,
Yep.
Hill Academy Field and Dome as well. And then the dome manufacturer is at a completely other level. So they've built domes in 4 different continents, 570 air structures to date. They've done the University of Ottawa, BMO Training Ground, Woodbridge Sports Dome, the Save Max Center Brampton that's up now. So, and we had a meeting with the Farley Group, and you can see on the slide here the picture, and just above their logo, it looks like a big window at the top of the dome. So that's the concept that we're considering right now. So it's absolutely beautiful when you walk in there, because a lot of domes when you walk in, dark, kind of feels a little dingy, right? That is actually a massive call it a skylight, but it actually is better for to remove the snow off quicker because it heats up the dome quicker. So it actually has functional use, but it just makes it look absolutely beautiful inside there as well, right? So some of the things we've completed to date that we want to make sure we shared with you. We've had some engagement with the directors here at the township, along with the mayor, to talk about learning what this process would look like to pitch to you guys, and talk about this. Obviously, also talk about feasible approaches. We've had a pre-consultation done with the township, an environmental impact statement, initial traffic analysis with no stated obstacles right now. We've gone through environmental consultant analysis, topographic studies. We're in the midst of drafting our site plan approval right now as we speak with MPTW and Richfield completing that, along with our minor height variance is underway as we speak. And we've also had geotechnical testing done as well. So we're really forging ahead in an expedited fashion with the goal of obviously breaking ground and getting this done by 2026. Some interesting stats, if we go just to projected revenues. So I'm not going to bore you with too much financial analysis here, but if you look at the full, on the left-hand side of the spreadsheet, when this is fully occupied, it does generate a significant amount of revenue, about $1.3 million, with a fairly healthy profit at the bottom as well, right? So it's why are we sharing this with you? We want to demonstrate to you that this is a project that we have full confidence that will A, get off the ground correctly, right? And B, also be sustainable on a go-forward basis. The next kind of concept is absorption rates, right? So when you bring a big asset like this into a market, how long does it actually take to kind of get occupied? Right. And what's fundamentally important is the first one. So community-based sports facilities. Now, these stats are from North America because there's not a lot of these in Canada yet, but in the US predominantly, right? So, but community-based sports facilities, it takes about 6 to 24 months to reach this stable utilization. Okay, the stable utilization is considered kind of 60 to 80% of prime hours, which is evenings and weekends. What's interesting is within 150-kilometer range from here, you cannot find dome time. That's the reality of it. So everything is 100% occupied. So we feel confident that this is going to get absorbed quite quickly, right? And that 6 to 24 months, it's probably closer to 6 months than it is 24. What is also important is like these domes are that they're multi-sport options, which is what our intention is as well. We've not even explored partnerships with schools or any type of daytime revenue concept, but that facility would also obviously provide some options for different concepts there.
I'm just gonna be mindful of our time, so.
We're over our time?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
You can take some time to wrap it up. but
Sure.
that would be-
Okay, yeah, so to wrap it up, there's not much more. What I would say overall is, like, there's not much more other than what I would say is we've recently also acquiring our semi-professional soccer club here in town as well. That's going to be the home for them as a training facility as well, right? So it's not just about building for just our culture today and our club, but also kind of continue to build on our
And
growth.
I think we would harp on the fact that we've had to turn kids away from our sport because we don't have the facilities and having to travel outside of the township and area to accommodate our programming has been very difficult and costly as well. So.
Thank you very much. Before we do move on to comments or questions from council, I just ask for a mover and seconder, please. I have Councillor Fisher and Councillor Moore that the delegation from the Barrie Soccer Club be received. And at this time, I will turn to members of council. Councillor Thompson and then Councillor Fisher.
Thank you for coming. Great presentation. I think this is something that I would be in favor of. I'd be interested, so through the chair to Director Bedard, how might this work for us financially? Or is this something that you would like us referred back to you so that you could do a report for council?
Director Bedard?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Councillor Thompson, I would suggest staff's recommendation would be the matter be referred to staff to report back to council.
Councillor Fisher?
I actually thank you for the question, Councillor Thompson. I feel the same. I really enjoyed the presentation to see you go in depth and even talk about revenues. I think that I was a little surprised by that. Also, in terms of the actual space we receive for the money, it's quite interesting. Also, thank you for touching on. I think you referred to it as absorption rates. That's pretty quick to see absorption. It's, I guess, partially because it's already existing. When you say you're turning away, that's something as well. And being in a hockey family, I also find it interesting that there are that many people playing hockey in soccer in Canada. So I too would like this referred back to staff so we can really get a better understanding of it, see how to move forward if we want to. So.
Any other comments or questions? So if I would just ask for an amendment then, please. So moved by Councillor Thompson, seconded by Councillor Fisher. What the amendment? Just referral. Okay. So council, we're just going to vote on the referral to staff. So thank you very much for your presentation. It's very exciting. And thank you for taking this next step with us. So council, we do have this moved in second and it's to refer it back to staff. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for time.
At this time, I would like to call upon Edwin Espinal and Karen Spring to present, please. Good evening and welcome.
Thank you for having us here. Good evening. Springwater Council, members of the public and residents watching online. My name is Edwin Espinal. I am from Honduras in Central America. I recently arrived to Canada, and one of the first things I hoped to do it was to speak before the Springwater Council and the residents of Springwater. In Honduras, I am a human rights activist, and I have been for many years. I have also experienced significant political persecution as a result of my human rights work. In late 2017, a democratic crisis occurred in my country. following general elections. Thousands of Hondurans, including me, went to the street to protest, to protect our vote. In 2018, after years of experiencing political persecution by the government, I was charged and imprisoned in a maximum security prison for 19 months. I was given limited food, shared a cell, and one toilet with 12 inmates. Feared for my life as I was imprisoned with men facing several life sentences, and was only allowed 2 hours of sunlight a month. In these moments, it was hard to remain hopeful. My mother-in-law, Janet Spring, and my partner, Karen Spring, would visit me when they could. Janet forms part of the Cinco Cani Honduras Rights Monitor, a small local group led by women that formed to advocate for the release of the Honduran political prisoners, as I was not the only one. Together with the Cinco Cani Honduran Rights Monitor, many Springwater residents represented by the council advocated for not only my release, but the release of all political prisoners in Honduras. At the time, the council consisted of Mayor Bill French, Deputy Mayor Don Allen, Katie Austin representing Ward 1, Perry Ritchie representing Ward 2, Jennifer Coughlin representing Ward 3, Sandy McConkey representing Ward 4, and Jack Hanna representing Ward 5. On April 18, 2018, this council passed a resolution calling upon the Canadian government to stand by its stated position in support of human rights and the rule of law in Honduras, and urgently intervene in the cases of political prisoners, including me, arrested on January 19, 2018, on false charges in the wake of popular protest, and immediately ensured that Hernandez government released me and all political prisoners being held in terrible conditions in military prisons throughout Honduras. I was told about this resolution when I was in prison, along with other actions here in Cinco Cani of individuals and groups advocating for my freedom. This included a community meeting, billboards demanding freedom for the political prisoners, petition signing, among other actions. In the hardest moment of my imprisonment, I was taught about these brave acts carried by regular people in a country seemingly far away. This council and the residents of Springwater connected local issues to the global ones and remained steadfast and consistent in their efforts to free me and my fellow political prisoners. These acts inspire me and give me hope. They made a huge difference and helped tip the scale in my favor. The local Springwater advocacy helped pressure the Canadian government, then impacted the Honduran government, causing a cascading effect with impacts in my country far away. What I learned from this experience, inspired by the council and Springwater residents, is the true inclusive democracy is a bracing act of individual and collective sacrifice. True democracy involves taking the hard road. At a time when individuals gain true money, promotions, and individuality are promoting above the interests of the collective. We must all continue to fight and resist in the name of preserving democracy locally and around the world. After years of waiting for my application to be approved, I am now a permanent resident of Canada in Springwater Township. Thank you again, Springwater Council and community of Springwater, for supporting the Honduras struggle for democracy and for supporting me. We invite the Springwater Council and members of the community to our thank you celebration in the afternoon on Sunday, January 25th, 2026 at the Elmville Community Hall. Thank you again.
Well, thank you. Wow. Thank you. I think that having you come back and complete that full circle and having the members of council that were advocating here with us this evening. So thank you so much for this, and thank you to the council at the time that did charge this and did provide that advocation, and hearing that you are now a resident of Springwater, not only Canada. You picked the best place in the world to live. So it's very much welcome, and we will make sure that council receives a formal invite to that celebration. I'm going to have it moved and seconded and then turn to members of council. I'll have it moved by Councillor Fisher, seconded by Councillor Moore, and I will turn to members of council for comment. Deputy Cabral.
Mayor Coghlan, I think it would be most appropriate for the members that were on council at that time if they'd have an opportunity to have a photo with Edwin. And I'm just suggesting it. I can see some of the members right there, and I myself would like to be able to shake Mr. Espinal's hand again and welcome him. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will. That's a great suggestion. Thank you for that. I think that after we've received this, that would be appropriate. Any other comments or questions before we do get to shake hands? Councillor Fisher.
Yeah. I actually was getting a bit emotional there. Thank you very much for coming. It's not very often our municipal affairs sort of reach internationally, and I thank other members of council, but I also thank you for bringing your message here. It's important that Canadians do know that democracy is a fragile thing, and that I think you made a point there, which I underlined, that true democracy involves taking the hard road, and obviously you did take that hard road, and but it's great to have you here with us. So thank you.
Thank you.
So council, we do have a resolution to receive, and then we will proceed for a photo. So council, all those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you. And we'll just come around and join you for a photo. Thank you.
Oh, you can tell.
Incredible. Thank you. So what I will do ask is having previous council Henry and previous Mayor French, if you would like to join us at the front. Sure. So that you're. Yeah, wherever you want. I mean, we couldn't have done, this couldn't have happened without your family, so I would absolutely love it. Yes. Go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No tired, no seriously, no. They all look here to wait first and then we'll do separate pictures.
Big smiles, come on. Happy, freedom. Peace. Nice.
Perfect. And then this one will go on the township social media, if that's okay. Perfect. Nice, you got more over to the left here. Perfect. Thank you again.
Good luck.
Wow.
Council, at this time, we will move on to our question period, and I will turn to Deputy CA Owensworth if there's been any submissions received.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. There was one submission received, and it was asked to be read aloud. It's from Tom Nolert of 4 Forest View Avenue in Minnesang. Regarding agenda item 10.1, status report of Bill 76, the Barrie Oro Medonte Springwater Boundary Adjustment Act. Mayor and Council, now that Bill 76 has been enacted and the province urged implementation and completion of a compensation agreement, I would like Council to focus on 2 shared principles brought forward during earlier discussions. These were in the framework agreement. 1, access to City of Barrie recreational facilities, programs, and waterfront parking passes. 2, confirmation of the Mayor of Springwater as a member of the Little Lake Conservation Trust. Notwithstanding any financial compensations, these 2 shared principles could provide tangible benefit to Springwater residents, which the residents can use directly, versus any financial compensation that will go into the township's coffers. Let me explain. As you know, Springwater is essentially landlocked insofar as access to waterfront parks. Sure, we have the Nottawasaga River at Edenvale and Orr Lake, but no real waterfront access without paying the non-resident fee. There is opportunity here to achieve real benefit to Springwater residents. As mentioned, these compensation aspects were already in the original framework agreement. However, they should be strengthened and enhanced by not limiting the waterfront passes to 5 years and instead making them available in perpetuity and further not limiting to the number of passes to 500. Many Springwater residents support the Barrie economy through the many retail businesses and services within the city. In fact, the province acknowledges that Barrie is a regional hub. This has and will continue for a long time, with Springwater residents providing economic support to Barrie's economy. It is on that basis I would recommend Springwater push hard so that access to Barrie's waterfront parks be granted to Springwater residents on an equitable basis as Barrie residents, and that there be no end date and no quantity limit. Keep in mind that residents have to apply for the pass, and to suggest that this is a cost to the city while benefiting from economic spending by Springwater residents is wrong. The city highlights the economic benefits that are brought to the city by the many events held in the city from the influx of visitors, while Springwater residents do basically that all year. Other recreational facilities should also be accessible to Springwater residents on the same basis as Barrie residents. With respect to the Little Lake Conservation Trust, at this time, the future uses and possible park development within the land trust are not known, if any. If in the future, public uses such as hiking, picnicking, and maybe simple water activities like canoeing or kayaking are encouraged, including parking, that Springwater residents be afforded the same privilege as Barrie residents, especially that the North Shore and Land Trust area are so close to the boundary. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further submissions? Not seeing any. At this time, I can turn to members of the public for any questions. Not seeing any. At this time, Council, we move on to item 6, which is our minutes. May I have a mover and seconder for the minutes, please? I have Councillor Fisher and Councillor Thompson. That the minutes of council listed herein be approved as presented. One, the minutes of the special meeting of council of December 3rd, 2025, and two, the minutes of the special meeting of council closed session of December 3rd, 2025, and three, the minutes of the regular meeting of council of December 3rd, 2025. Are there any comments or questions on these minutes? Not seeing any. All those in favor? That has carried. And our boards and committees, please, a mover and seconder. Councillor Garwood, Deputy Cabral, that the minutes of the boards, committees, and other organizations listed herein be received for information. We have the minutes of the Agricultural Advisory Committee of September 9th, 2025, and the minutes of the Agricultural Advisory Committee meeting of October 28th, 2025. Any comments or questions on those minutes? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. We are now moving on to item 7, which is the mayor's proposed budget. And at this time, it would move into our veto period, and I will defer or turn over to CEO Ainsworth, please.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Council at this point in the budget process is able to propose any overrides to any mayoral budget vetoes. The mayor has provided a veto during her veto period on December 8th regarding the Idlewood paving budget amendment. At this time would be council's opportunity to table an override to that veto, which would require a 2/3 support of council. Council may also, it is within its 15-day override period. So that period does end on December 23rd, 2025.
At this time, I would turn to members of council. Not seeing any. I would turn back to, oh, sorry. Deputy CEO.
Just for a process, we'll, with respect to the override, that's not the area, but will we be able to comment after it goes back, or should we make comments now with respect to the budget?
And comments would be appropriate at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate that, Mayor Coughlin. Council doesn't get an opportunity to basically vote on the budget, just that one particular piece there. However, I think it's important for the public to also understand, certainly our taxpayers. So I'd like to kind of go on the record. I did speak to Director Bedard, and through you, Mayor Coughlin, to Director Bedard. There has been in some areas reference to tax rate stabilization funds being utilized. Was an article in the paper that I think also referenced them. And I know that this particular budget has tax rate stabilization reserves targeted in here in the amount of $750,000. So I just was curious to know and asked Director Bedard, because those funds are coming from that particular reserve to basically reduce the tax burden to the property, the taxpayers. The issue would be that those are still tax dollars that we'd held in reserve. And I've always over the years been a little bit leery of kind of looking down the crystal ball to funds that might be forthcoming to the municipality to offset. We used to call them supplementary funds. There were several different terms for them. I guess the well went dry with the stall in the housing market and that. So if Director Bedard, if you would please, just the municipal portion, what it actually stands at now and what it would be if we remove the $750,000 from the tax rate stabilization fund. Strictly the municipal portion.
Director Bedard.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to Deputy Mayor Cabral. Just to comment on the operating budget. So the operating budget includes a transfer from the tax rate stabilization reserve in the amount of approximately $668,000. As you mentioned, Deputy Mayor, this was to provide tax rate mitigation in response to slowing assessment growth within the township. And that's to ensure that, again, we're providing tax rate mitigation and we're maintaining that same level of funding. The impact to the township tax rate only Should this transfer not be made, the township portion would increase 11.42%. Factoring in the transfer that has been made, the tax rate increase as it currently stands and on the township portion is 8.26.
6. Follow on, please.
One.
And also, if you might, I know we have a blended rate where we're looking at the county. I think, I don't know exactly what the county was. Was it 3.75, 3.5?
3.75?
I
5.
think it was,
3.5.
does it? Okay.
There was a lot of numbers tossed around that.
Well, it went back and forth, but the county's at 3.75, and my understanding is the school boards remain status quo for this year too. So I'm just unable to say that I fully support this. We also had some hires in 2025 that I think could have maybe been put off or at least put on hold. I didn't see a whole lot of opportunity, and I didn't see a whole lot in the mayoral budget that looked at trying to reduce our costs. So hopefully we'll be able to see some of those cost savings in 2026, although I'm not very optimistic with respect to the budgeted amount that we have in place for winter maintenance, given the amount of snow that, well, we've already gotten, but hopefully we're going to get some decent weather to come to us yet. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I will turn to Deputy CAO for, if there are no vetoes, the opportunity for council to withdraw or remove their veto.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Council does have the opportunity to reduce its override period should they wish to do so, and it would need to be done by resolution.
So essentially for council, right now, our budget would come complete on December 23rd, 24th. This would allow the veto period to be reduced, therefore the next step in the mayor budget to be reduced to allow the budget to be complete more than a couple days before Christmas or implemented. So if there's no vetoes coming forward from council, council could put forward a motion to reduce the veto period. Deputy Cabral.
Mayor, I didn't anticipate that I'm going to be doing it. It's only for the one particular one. So, I mean, I'd be happy if we reduced it. It makes no difference to me. I think it's a done deal.
Councillor Alexander?
Yeah, I have no issue with reducing it. I did just want to quickly speak to it. Very different process this year, obviously. Again, not one I agreed with, but I do understand that it's the legislation that came through the province, so that is here nor there. Not being allowed to vote on a budget though, per se, I think is very disappointing and undemocratic, but that's just my opinion. In terms of the rate, 8.26% increase in the economic climate that we are currently living in, I feel is out of touch and doing a disservice to our residents. When we look at the increased use of the food bank, which everyone at this table knows about because we have continuously supported it the best we can, those people using that food bank are the people that we are giving an 8.26% increase on their bills. They already cannot afford their food, potentially their rent, their mortgages. People are losing their jobs. I personally cannot support the budget, understanding I don't get to vote on it. I'm not going to pull anything from it because I feel like this is the budget that you're happy with, and this is the one that's going to go forward. So I don't want to waste everybody's time. And again, I'm fine if nobody wants to veto anything, I'm fine moving this along. But personally, it is not a budget that I can support.
Councillor Fisher.
I obviously, I share some of the same opinions. And this is not to pick on our mayor. I don't agree with strong mayor's powers or strong mayor's budgets. And it's mainly because it takes the residents who we are a conduit for. They give us their opinions, their wants, their needs, what they would like to see in a budget. Essentially, my vote doesn't mean very, well, we don't even get to vote on it, so it really doesn't mean anything. There are a few things in the budget I don't agree with. I'll give a quick example, 750,000 from reserves to essentially buy down the tax rate. That being said, I don't agree with the 8.26%, but I don't have a lot of say in it. So it is what it is, unfortunately.
So I do have a mover to reduce. I would be looking for a seconder for that. Councillor Fisher. And I will turn to our deputy CAO.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. The motion to reduce the period would read that council hereby reduce its override period to end on December 17th, 2025.
Any further comments or questions? Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. So I agree, it is a substantial increase, and my frustration is, the same people that are speaking about the costs have been a major part of why the cost of this budget is so high. You just look at the legal fees. We're going to spend a couple of $100,000 on Loopster Nixon, directed simply by 4 members of council, which has just been an absolute waste.
Point of order, Mayor Coughlin, this has nothing to do with the.
Absolutely, absolutely it does.
No, we're looking at
There's no point of order
2026,
here.
Councillor
And
Thompson.
if you have this is grandstanding, the residents need.
And thank you. So what I'm going to suggest is that after we do vote on this, I do have comment that would be speaking to the budget. If we'd like to speak to your overall opinion on the budget or some of that, as for going line by line, I don't think that needs to be brought back up again this evening. And as I'm learning, this yellow button actually can turn all the mics off at the same time. Who knew? All right, so this time we have had this moved and seconded, and so all those in favor. And that has carried. Thank you. And at this time, before we do move on past budget, I would like to thank our staff. I do feel that this is a responsible budget. Understanding the very first meeting I came into, there was a piece of paper that had a 21% increase on it, and it was terrifying. And diligently worked and kept moving it down and down and down. And the work that went into it, the collaboration that went into it, I will say that the itemized priorities within the corporation was not one department fighting against another department to try and get what they needed. It was taking a look at this corporation as a whole and what it was going to take to move us forward. Understanding that there have been part of many budgets in this township that have been below the rate of inflation. We even had one that was a negative municipal in tax. So we can't keep having very, very minimal budgets and not expecting there to be a year. So is it unfortunate that at the same time, it's the first year that there's a mayor's budget? Yes, it is unfortunate, but it is, in my opinion, the responsible thing to do. I would also like to thank CAO Forfar for coming in halfway or at the tail end of the budget process and was too very shocked by the large amount of impact and impact to the township. So thank you very much for the work that went into the budget, and I will be moving my portion back so we can have this finished. So thank you to you, CAO Forfar, and your team. At this time, we can move on to our item 8, which is the mover and seconder for the committee recommendations.
We did not.
Did
we?
Yep.
I see, yes, already.
Yes. So this is, may I have a mover and seconder to receive the committee's recommendation, please? I have Councillor Fisher, Councillor Moore, that the recommendation from the Agricultural Advisory Committee be received. Any comments or questions on this? I'll go to Councillor Fisher as the sitting member first.
Thank you. I believe the clerk prepared something for me. I would like to actually support the committee's recommendation.
Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. So through the chair, I'm not sure who could answer this question. What is routine maintenance that's defined in this report?
CAO Forfar. There was no other hands going up, so I'm you're the default on that one, but we could
Yeah.
CO44?
Through your worship to members of council, we'd be more than happy, I think, to provide a bit of a report back in January on some of the impacts. I think there could be some further clarification here provided. Not that we want to detract, but just to provide some context to the committee's recommendation. It's would be helpful.
Thank you. Follow on?
So this would be referred back to staff for a report to come?
Through your worship, yes, we would certainly support that.
Councillor Fisher?
If that's something you'd like, I think routine maintenance, when discussed inside of our committee, was essentially, farmyards, laying down gravel, things like this. Essentially, routine maintenance that you'd usually see on a larger scale at an agricultural business. But if the wish of council is to have more clarification, that's not it's not something I'd sidestep, but essentially that's what the discussion was. This wasn't large renovations or excavation or anything like this. It's something that, quite honestly, at a small, medium, or even large agricultural business, you'd see on a very ongoing basis. As a matter of fact, it's something that would be done without asking permission typically. But yeah.
Deputy Cabral?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin, and through you to Director Harvey. Director Harvey, you and I did have, discussion way back when this first surfaced. And part of it revolved around, someone in town who's laying down some gravel, someone who, has a residential property who's trucking in some gravel or material to put on their driveway. But when it came to this particular instance, it's not just one farm, it was numerous farms. So the volume of material was a lot more significant. And so anyway, I think for me, it was that particular piece wherein I think the routine maintenance is specific to kind of the cut and fill permit bylaw. So would that be something that staff could take into consideration so that it's kind of a little bit equalized, with the sense that it's not that they're doing anything different than someone maybe in one of the settlement areas would be doing, but because of the size of their operation, it does entail more material, but literally it's, in my opinion, kind of like doing the same thing. So would staff be able to maybe take that into consideration as well? And what do we do when it's, someone in town? It seemed to be that if it wasn't a large amount, that was the deal, like if they weren't making any big changes. So could you just maybe provide a little bit more insight to that? Thank you.
Director Harvey?
Yeah, through Mayor Coughlin to Deputy Mayor. The context of what we were talking about was, for instance, something like an existing driveway. It's exempt if the existing driveway, for instance, was paved and somebody wants to replace the driveway. They're not adding any additional, they're just, for lack of a better term, recycling what's there. So that is exempt under the bylaw, and that would be the same context for any kind of agricultural property as well. The difference came in is when you're actually importing material and changing that, or, for lack of a better term, changing the grade, bringing additional material in. That's where the site alteration and fill bylaw would come into play, and that's a different operation. So if you have something existing and you're just, for lack of a better term, rehabilitating it on a residential driveway, that's exempt. It would be the same context in an agricultural area, just on a larger scale.
Follow on?
Okay, and I think I get what you're saying, but I'm picturing, someone who has a gravel driveway. It's been there for many years, and the gravel's basically been driven into the ground. So they want to put down some fresh gravel on it. If I'm hearing you correctly, that's something that can normally be done. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Fisher?
So, thank you for the clarification, Director Harvey. That's essentially what we're talking about. Over time, farmyards, when they're seeing, combines, track loaders, large equipment move across them, the gravel does become rutted. They become potholes. They does get, with the heavy weight, it does get pounded into the ground. Farm laneways, things like this. So it's really not changing the grading. Again, this is not excavation. You're not bringing in dozers. This is spreading gravel on your laneways, your farmyards, things like this, evening it out. So it's something that's very routine at just about any farm, regardless of the size. But again, agricultural business at this point isn't your small farm. It's usually, we're not talking 100 acres, we're talking thousands of acres. And the areas, actually, one farmer brought up to me that they're having large tractor trailers come in. This wouldn't have happened even in the 70s and 80s. They're having large tractor trailers come in, and it's actually they're actually made to have a turning radius, right? So essentially it's like a truck yard in the front. So you can imagine a gravel area gets it takes its toll on it, right? So routine maintenance, even on a monthly basis, is something that, you know, they just don't want to be hassled for this type of activity.
Thank you. Not seeing anything further, and I do believe that the mover and seconder were fine with it being referred back. Oh, sorry, I thought Councillor Thompson seconded the referral. Thank you. So moved by Councillor Fisher and seconded by Councillor Thompson, that this item before council be referred to staff. Although, Councillor Fisher?
Sorry, and just that it comes back to us at the next meeting, if that's possible.
I will defer to Director
Sure, Mayor
Harvey.
Coughlin, we can certainly bring something back on that very quickly.
And that they at the next regular meeting of council. All right. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you. Next, we have our EDHS donation fund ad hoc committee funding recommendation. May I have a mover and seconder for this, please? I will go to Councillor Alexander and Councillor Garwood that the recommendation from the EDHS donation fund ad hoc committee be received. And I will turn to Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. I do want to provide a bit of background on this one. Understanding council's received several reports on this matter. The EDHS donation funds ad hoc committee met for the first time after council approved the formation of this committee in November. Councillor Alexander and I sit on the committee along with representation from the school board, from the community, and from Elmville District High School itself. As we know, over a decade plus ago, there was a significant fundraising effort to support the school. And as we know from today, the school is thriving. The joint use space is operational 3 days a week for members of the community to get to partner in. So again, I thank council and staff for prioritizing this project and getting it up off the ground post-COVID. Now, the committee's purpose is to meet sporadically and to look at ways to dispense the funds that are still sitting in account. Doing so with the focus of the initial purpose of the funds and to ensure that it's done so appropriately. So the committee did have its first meeting, and at that meeting, there was a recommendation to provide an enhanced upgrade to the volleyball systems in the gym, which will then, of course, be not only useful for the school with their curriculum and their gymnasium classes, but also through the public through open drop-in opportunities. So the committee, I believe, was unanimous in their support for this initiative. Hence, this is coming back to council for approval. And from there, actually, staff have been working collaboratively as direction through the committee with the school and with the board on creating a vision to, instead of just have individual requests like this one here, really look at a significant investment and back into the community that makes those that worked so hard to fundraise in the first place pleased. So I will turn it over to Councillor Alexander just to mention anything if I've missed anything. But the clerk does have a amendment as well drafted to approve the purchase.
Councillor Alexander?
I will keep this short. I think Councillor Garwood covered everything. I think the main point I would like to stick on is, yes, I think this is a good one-time purchase that everyone was in agreement on, but I would say the biggest discussion point along there is definitely a longer term vision, not multiple one-offs that just eats through the money, but a bigger, larger scale, which is the end goal.
Yep.
I will turn now to our deputy CAO for the amendment.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. The amendment drafted would read that the motion now before council be amended as follows, and that council hereby supports the request from the EDHS Donation Fund Ad Hoc Committee approving the release of an upset limit of 25,000 to EDHS for upgraded volleyball system.
And I'm going to turn back to the sitting members for the amendment, Councillor Alexander and Councillor Garwood. Any questions on the amendment? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. So we are back to the main motion as amended. Council, all those in favor? And that has carried. We're now moving on to item 9, our action reports. May I have a mover and seconder for the action reports, please? Councillor Moore. Okay, Deputy Cabral, that action reports items 9.2 through 9.7 be received and that the recommendations contained therein be approved as presented. We have 9.2, which is SU 2025-001 Berry Hill. 9.3, tree clearing request, Stone Manor Phase 5. 9.4, Carson Neighborhood Phase 1. 9.5, Carson Neighborhood Phase 1, and that's for the water treatment. 9.6 is a memorandum of understanding with the Georgian Bay Search and Rescue, and 9.7 is the award for the first due records management system. Are there any of these to be pulled for redirection? Any comments or questions on any of the items listed this evening? Not seeing any. Council, all those in favor? And that has carried. We will now move on to item 10, our information reports. May I have a mover and seconder for those, please? Councillor Garwood, Councillor Alexander, that the reports listed herein be received for information. We have our Building Services Monthly Report, November 2025, Bylaw Services Monthly Activity Report, November 2025, Midhurst Heights Development Information Update. Number 4 is the Council Resolution C500B-2025, and it's a delegation on the parkland dedication. 5 is the Bill 76 Oromadante Springwater Berry Boundary Adjustment. 6 is the Fourplex Rental Homes Development Charge Treatment. 7 is the memo of the confirmation bylaw, and 8 is the vetoing methods and the consultation. So at this time, I will ask if there's any to be pulled for redirection. Councillor Fisher?
Number 6.
You're pulling number 6. Any others to be pulled for redirection?
5.
Number 5. Deputy Cabral?
I'm sorry, Mayor Coughlin, I don't have it in front of me, but item number 4, did that report not have options within it for council to consider it or was that another report I looked at? I'm pretty sure there were options for council to consider moving forward. I would suggest that that one be pulled then for further.
And if that is, I will turn to our deputy CAO. If it's not pulled, is there a deputy CAO?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Yes, if council would like to redirect, it would need to be pulled. If it is not pulled, it could be brought up by council at a subsequent meeting without a reconsideration, should council wish to do so.
Clarification, are you pulling item 4 then? Okay. So council, at this time, we are pulling item 5 and item 6 so that the report items listed here and be received for information, and that would be items 1 through 8 with the exception of 5 and 6. Council, all those in favor? Oh, sorry, my apologies. Comments on the additional? Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. I just wanted to make a comment on item number 8, which is the voting methods consultation. I just wanted to thank staff specifically for prioritizing this, understanding at our last meeting, there was significant conversation around how Springwater votes in the next election. I think it is absolutely excellent that the public will have 2 opportunities, one on January the 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the Elmvale Arena, and a second on January the 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. here at the Administration Center to discussed with staff to discuss regarding ways in which they hope to be able to participate in the next election. In addition to that, there will be a survey that will be released as directed by council, available for the month of January to seek input regarding voting methods for residents, and understanding that the information will be compiled and will be sent and presented back to council at the February 18th, 2026 regular meeting of council, understanding that this is obviously a significant, important decision for this council. I surely hope the public is engaged on this matter. They share their feedback, and that council listens to the information that they hear from the public. Thank you.
For the comments. Any additional comments on any of the items? Councillor Moore?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. I'm just trying to think of a way to make it accessible to the folks at the south end. I know the admin center is close, but in my ward, it seems far for some reason. So is there an opportunity maybe to reach out to Snow Valley to see if we could also have an information night there? If possible, please.
I believe at that, then we would need to pull that for redirection to have that direction provided to staff. So, council, we have items before us, items 1 through 8, with the exception of 5, 6, and 8. All those in favor? And that has carried. We'll move back now to item number 5. Pulled by Councillor Thompson, and a seconder for that, please. Deputy Cabral.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. So through the chair to Director Harvey, summary to actions to date with regards to the public works. Just a question that I have. It states here that with the boundary adjustment that we are going to continue with our contracts for the winter maintenance and then charge back the city of Barrie. So just a couple of questions. The $3,540 kilometer that we're charging back to Barrie, I assume that's a flat fee for the winter.
Director Harvey?
Through you, Mayor Coughlin, that is correct. Just for a little context here, the figures that you see before you are based on the 2026 winter maintenance budget, and it's divided by center lane kilometer, and that's how we came up with that figure that you see before you that we shared with the city of Barrie.
Follow on?
Follow on. So also included in that is the famous hill on Old Second South. Now my understanding for 2026, the plowing bill for that alone, and it's probably not done yet because we probably plowed it a few times this year, was the last time I checked was over $10,000. So that you're confident that I assume that's in this as well, and that there's enough money here that's going to cover all that.
Director Harvey?
Yeah, to you, Mayor Coughlin, that's inclusive of the Old Second Hill. Yes, those calculations.
Anything further on this? Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Through you to the Deputy CAO, understanding that I think there's been some questions circling regarding final mapping, and I know members of council have also inquired. I myself have inquired. Understanding that I don't believe that there is a formalized final mapping. Do we have any insight as to when that information may be available to the public and to council?
Through you, Mayor Coughlin, thank you. Our expectation, Councillor Garwood, is that an OREG is coming from the minister's office to define the actual boundary more explicitly. Thank you.
Not seeing anything further. I have that moved and seconded. All those in favor? And that has carried. We are now moving on to the fourplex rental homes development charge treatment. This was pulled by Councillor Fisher. A seconder for this, please. Councillor Moore. Councillor Fisher?
Thank you. And I thank staff for the report. It was lengthy, but I think it was fulsome. Without belaboring it, I actually would like to propose option 2 and vote on it. I think that that if this is the direction we're moving in, I think it's best to get the project started. And I'd also like to see development charges, since we base a lot of our budget on it, start the project up. So I would propose option 2, and I'd need a seconder.
Councillor Alexander is the seconder. Yep. Additional comments, questions on this? Councillor Thompson?
Thank you, Mayor Colligan. So I think I could support option number 2. I know other municipalities do offer opportunities for these kind of waiving of fees, as you might say, or helping the development go forward. So I agree with Councillor Fisher that I'd like to see shovels in the ground and some building permits, and I see that as, at this point, as the best way forward for us.
Councillor Alexander?
Yes, to keep this short, I think this is truly affordable housing that's being proposed in front of us. This is something that the province definitely wants when they speak about shovels in the ground, affordable housing. It's a very good project. It allows people that would like to stay in this municipality affordable rental options that is controlled. So I'm happy to support and get this project moving forward.
Councillor Fisher, then Councillor Garwood.
Just a quick word. I know that there's been discussions about it in the past, and I think this council seemingly overall has embraced it. A few things that people should know: they aren't fourplex, and I would call it the traditional sense, 2 up, 2 down. They really are like single detached homes, almost like a link, And I think one thing to really focus on within that subdivision is the aesthetics and how they will be managed. That for me, if we were just simply constructing duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, and selling them out into the market as a sort of speculative rental, it's very different. These will be managed properties, almost like an HOA. So it's something, when you're driving through, based upon where they are in the subdivision, I think it'll be aesthetically pleasing, and they will provide affordable housing, but also a little bit upscale as well. So,
Councillor Garwood?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. And I wanted to thank staff for the report. Again, I'm glad that we went that route because it provides us a lot, firm information to make a solid decision. And I spoke to this at the last meeting. I of course, support the project, support the initiative, support the housing type. My only concern, and maybe something for us to think about long term, is based upon the information in the report, it does speak to the relief provided in this case is estimated to be approximately $201,000 that must be recouped through other mechanisms such as the general tax base. So again, growth should pay for growth. Our existing tax base should not be funding growth. So that is a concerning highlight for me from that report. And it does speak to shifting the cost burden of growth from the development community onto the general tax base. So again, those are those concerns. So personally, I was hoping to lean more towards option number 3, which is applying a reduced development charge rate to the majority of these projects. So we're not just providing one-offs, and we're not having these same scenarios every time where staff are required to come back, provide a report, delegations are necessary, that we have a firm process identified in our development charge bylaw that promotes these type of builds. Again, by no means am I trying to detract from the conversation, but maybe a more formalized process in which we are better prepared for the long term and we're not having these one-offs. So again, that would have been my preference, that we go that route as well. But anyway, those are just my comments.
Deputy Cabral?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Appreciate that. I think the key for these units here are they're unique. It's not just the single unit with the 2 units in it. These are blocks with several on them. And I think at the last meeting, it was kind of like, if you want to buy one, you had to buy them all, so it was unlikely. Professionally managed. I think it falls right in there with the provincial priorities of building more homes faster and making them affordable for young families and seniors. They might not be able to buy that house, but because it's a managed rental unit, CMHC kind of has some involvement in the sense that I guess they will be providing some financing for the long term. It allows seniors and young families to live in a neighborhood setting, kind of like rather than living in an apartment or in a condominium. So that's one of the features that I think is important. I think too, for the DC piece, the provincial government keeps talking about reducing them. I don't know how they're going to do it, but at the same time, I think this does provide opportunity for Springwater Township to put its foot forward and help make this affordable neighborhood living available to families and seniors.
I have Councillor Fisher and then back to Councillor Garwood.
Yeah, just a quick comment and a follow on to Councillor Garwood. I appreciate his comments, and actually I saw that same thing, the 201,000. When I read through it, I see it this way. It's not that it's necessarily a charge against the tax base. We just don't collect what we potentially could have. But I saw the same thing. I think when I saw that, though, I also looked later on in the report where it says that, they could appeal it with the OLT, which is where I feel it would go. It would end up costing us money. We'd end up in the same thing. But astute observation, and I agree. I saw it as well. But I think we'd end up in the same spot either way in terms of collection, right? So just so everyone listening knows, it's not necessarily a shortfall. It's just not a collection. So.
Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin, and I appreciate that, Councillor Fisher. I think, again, not to get into the weeds here, but I know recently we've spoken at this table around the importance of moving a lot of these capital projects forward, right? We know projects like the community hub, like Craig Road, right? A lot of those projects that are in the southern part of our municipality. We have a great project in Phelpson right now. We have a park project in Elmvale. Like, these are just highlighted ones that have recently come up at this table. $200,000 makes a difference in a lot of these, right? That's a quarter of the rink roof project that is almost completed. So again, just thinking about it that way, yes, I understand that we're not necessarily putting the burden directly on our taxpayer, but as we know, with development slowing down and additional or alternative housing formats starting to make their way into the market, especially like Springwater, which is very exciting, and also with the province potentially making changes to the DC structure, as we've heard for years now, that does give me long-term concern when it comes to being able to appropriately fund a lot of these significant initiatives that would benefit all of our residents. Again, we talk about that affordability crisis. We just talked about that with the budget, right? This is the same exact thing, just different side of the coin. But I do think also at the same time, and this is more of a comment, this project is moving forward and it is exciting for Springwater. So, maybe just a bit of a call out there. We know at the county, the Social and Community Services Division are an excellent resource, especially when it comes to affordable housing and ensuring that it is actually affordable housing. So I strongly urge the great contacts that we have at the county to be able to be connected with our local development community.
Not seeing anything further. Council, all those in favor? That has carried. We are now moving on to item 8, the voting method consultation, and I have this pulled by Councillor Moore. Seconder for this, please. Councillor Fisher. This is where you want to add you want to add the Snow Valley. Yeah. I'm just gonna wait for the. So this would just be to add that staff look into the Snow Valley location.
Or a location, even the Grenfell Hall or something. We could maybe have a conversation about it.
And
more south.
So we have that. Consider a location within Ward 4.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anything further on that? Second, Councillor Fisher. All those in favor? And that has carried. At this time, we can move the main motion as amended. Any further comments or questions? All those in favor? That has carried. My apologies, Council. On the previous item 6, we had a vote on the amendment, but not on the main motion. So this is the fourplex rental home. So that had a amendment to it. So we would just need to vote on the main motion as amended. Council, all those in favor? And that has carried. Good thing I have your eyes on that. I will look to our CAO for any verbal updates this evening. CAO Forfar.
Through your to members of council, we don't have anything at this time.
And I will turn to Deputy Cabral if there's anything from and municipal updates, members of council. Councillor Fisher.
Not a lot to report, but the Midhurst rink is open as of Monday. So we actually, weather was really conducive to laying down ice. So we really didn't have any shrinkage, if you will, right, going backwards. So that was great. Also, sorry, bad choice of word. But the rink nets as well. If people noticed, there were some holes in it, so we removed them, and we're actually having them restrung right now. We do have some on loan, and they'll be back. They'll be back soon. So that's all I have to report.
Councillor.
What's so funny, Anita?
Thompson.
Just like to thank the recreation associations in Minising and Anton Mills for a wonderful Christmas weekend. Friday night, the tree lighting and the tractor parade in Minising, and then Saturday and Sunday, the Christmas in the Village in Anton Mills. Great group of community volunteers and wonderful family activities. Thank you.
Councillor Garwood.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. On the same theme of thanking local community organizations, I did want to thank the Elmville Lions Club for an excellent Elmville Santa Claus Parade, which was just about a week and a half ago. It was great to see so many folks out. We got a lot of snow that day, which was nice. So I thank members of council for joining for that, Councillor Alexander and the mayor, along with wanting to congratulate the Elmville Lioness group for Slade Ride in the Village, which again was last Friday evening. There was a lineup down Queen Street, which was pretty exciting to see, even though it was a very cold night. And at this point, really just wanting to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, understanding it's our last meeting before that. Thank our staff for your efforts and your work this year. It's been a long year. There's been a lot thrown at this team, at this table, and at that one. So thank you, folks, and thank your staffs respectively. We know that this year is... this year and every year, it's so important to support local groups like our food banks. Obviously, the Elmville Food Bank and the Barrie Food Bank support our municipality as a whole. So thank you to those folks that give their time during the holiday season as well.
Councillor Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. And just on the note of ice, I'm going to go over to Director Culver just for an update on when we think the roof project will be completed in Falmston.
Director Culver.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, thanks for the heads up an hour or so ago. So I was able to reach out to the contractor because I didn't get a chance to talk to him today. But where we're at is that they're working really hard to get it complete because the early winter is making ice definitely more possible right now. All lighting and wiring is complete. They're working on the switches and hope to have them complete by the end of this week or possibly into next week early. The last pieces of roof have been the biggest challenge because of the late fall and early winter. So they're probably going to get as much done as they can through this weekend and then look to do the rest of the restoration and completion in the spring. But that means that the boards will be going back in tomorrow and the site fence will be starting to come down with a few pieces left until they've done their weekend work. So hopefully by the end of next week, you can start making ice.
Councillor Alexander.
Thank you for the update. It's very exciting. The community is itching. It's the first time I think I've had all of the many members that put the ice in want to get out there and actually put the ice in because it is a great winter, and there will be relief if there is rain or little warm spells with the roof. So I'm very excited to hear that. Thank you for staff's work on this and for council for supporting this project. It means more than people know to the Phelpston community. It is a huge deal. So we're very excited.
Not seeing any further updates, although Councillor Garwood stole a little bit of what I had to say. I just wanted to thank our staff for an incredibly challenging year. I'm really happy to see 2026 coming, and I hope that each of you has an opportunity to disconnect and reconnect with the people that you are wanting to spend your holidays with, however you celebrate those holidays. Thank you so much for being an incredible team. So thank you. At this time, council, we have a notice of motion. This is moved by Councillor Alexander, and this is the removable ramp for the Hillsdale community. A seconder for that, please, Councillor Garwood, and I will turn to Councillor Alexander.
Okay, thank you. Whereas the Township of Springwater recognizes the importance of making our community accessible, whereas the Hillsdale Community Recreation Association has obtained a quote for a removable ramp to be installed at the Hillsdale Community Center for residents needing wheelchairs, walkers, canes, and strollers. Now therefore be it resolved that $1,465 be withdrawn from the Ward 2 discretionary fund to cover the cost of a portable ramp for the Hillsdale Community Center. So I think this is pretty self-explanatory. It is a project that the Hillsdale CRA approached me with. I think it is a great use of these funds. I have spoken with Director Culver just to ensure there was no concerns from a township perspective, of which there is none. So I'm just asking for this council's support to move forward with this project.
Any comments or questions from members of council? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. And back to Councillor Alexander. A seconder for the Elmville District Food Bank, please. Deputy Cabral. And back to Councillor Alexander.
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Okay, that the Township of Springwater approve the allocation of $2,535 from Ward 2 discretionary fund to the Elmville District Food Bank for the purchase of food, particularly perishable items such as dairy, meat, and vegetables, and that staff be directed to issue the contribution as soon as possible to ensure timely support for the holiday season. Again, I don't think there's much more to say here other than I'm happy to have remaining funds in my fund, and I'm happy to use them to support the Elmville Food Bank, which is an incredibly important organization.
Councillor Moore.
Thank you. I still have $1,800 left in the Ward 4 discretionary fund. So if it's possible, I'd like to add that as well and make it a very good Christmas, I hope, for many families.
I have an amendment put forward by Councillor Moore and seconded by Councillor Fisher. And add that the motion now before council be amended to include the remaining funds from the Ward 4 discretionary funds. All those in favor? As carried, and we may be back to the main motion as amended. Council, all those in favor? And that has carried. We are now moving on to a motion for the Springwater, Vesper Lions, and the Elmville District Lions. I have this moved by Councillor Fisher. Looking for a seconder, please. Councillor Moore, and I will turn to Councillor Fisher.
Yep. That the Township of Springwater approve the allocation of the remainder of the Ward 5 and Mayor's discretionary fund to be divided equally to the Springwater Vesper Lions Club and the Elmville Lions Club. You know, it's not much needs to be said. They do so much work for both ends of our communities. You know, this year, I think the highlight of my daughter's fall was the pumpkin toss put on by our Lions Club, but they do great work in both communities, and they really do support actually a lot of our other volunteer groups, like our CRA, for example. I'm sure it's the same. So I thank the mayor. You know, I think it's a good way to split the money and split it between both wards or both ends of Springwater.
Not seeing anything further on that. All those in favor? And that has carried. And back to Councillor Fisher. This is on the beacon on Poles Road. Seconder for that, please. Councillor Moore, and back to Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. It came to my attention actually at the beginning of the winter that I guess for some time, for years actually, it's going to sound silly, but people aren't stopping on pools and hitting the tee in the road. And when this was first brought to my attention, I thought, okay, well, it's a one-off. But no, it's not actually. I've been receiving pictures of it. And as a matter of fact, we had to prop up the sign. I believe staff members went and propped it up because somebody driven through it. So in speaking with a local farmer and resident who's actually helped pull people out of the ditch, I'd like to put a beacon. It installs on the stop sign, and it would, I believe it would actually be solar powered and it would blink. So there would be no power source running to it as well.
Comments or questions, Councillor Thompson?
Thank you. So just a question to Director Harvey. So a beacon like this, is this something that neighbors would be consulted with? Because this, I assume this is a pretty bright light. And are there homes around this that it could possibly cause a complaint from a neighbor?
To you, Mayor Coughlin, I don't think that's an issue. Operations staff have taken a look at it and are recommending that this could be installed safely.
Councillor Fisher.
Thank you. It's a good question. As a matter of fact, no, there aren't any homes directly around it. The closest home would actually be facing the opposite direction of where the light is flashing. It's also not a very invasive light. It's really localized. There's also trees down both sides. And in the summer months, it would actually it would be more like a tunnel, if you will. But then again, most of the issues are in the winter. So to answer your question, no, it's a very rural and agricultural area, and there's no homes around. So I can't see any complaints.
Councillor Garwood?
Thank you, Mayor Coughlin. Just maybe a process question. Maybe this would be through you to the Deputy CAO, or maybe it's to our Director Harvey. Is this something that through the local ward councillor and staff could not have been worked out, and does it require council direction, understanding that we all respectively work with staff on various road safety matters, and if there's no significant cost impact to the overall budget, I don't see why this couldn't have been something that is worked on, and it just helps everything. It improves it speeds it up and saves it from being a conversation.
Thank you for that. I think that in many conversations with CAO Forfar, anything that is direction from council, any request of council needs to come through the Deputy CAO or the CAO as a motion at council, so that our departments are not inundated with very requests. So thank you for bringing it forward this channel. And any further comments or questions on that? Any? All those in favor? And that has carried. At this time, council, are there any notices of motion for this evening? Not seeing any items for future consideration. Councillor Moore?
Thank you. Just item for future consideration. Could we just maybe work with, Mr. Director Culver, regarding the Grenfell rink improvements that are required for the rink? If we could maybe take a look at that, do just a quick assessment. I know we do full facility assessments, but I know you and I have spoke about that before, but it's just sitting and there's lots of repairs that need to be done. So that would help with that.
Thank you for that. And as I was just further on to Councillor Garwood's, in collaboration with CAO Forfar, any work or any direction from council is going to be done through a notice of motion. So we can go back to the IFC used to just be like a standing table. So we've kind of moved it aside. It's still sitting on our agenda because that would involve opening our entire procedural to do that. So if we can go back to notices of motion and we can have that be brought forward. And I would then turn to CAO Forfar. Is that a report back to council, or how would you like that direction to be?
Through your wishes, members of council, if you're looking for just a condition overall assessment of it or a phasing of the work, in terms of what needs to be done, we would certainly just collaborate and maybe decide how best to bring that back to you.
Fine. All of that.
Thank you. And as this is simply a notice of motion, you would have opportunity to sit with staff to figure out the appropriate avenue. Anything further on this? Not seeing any. Mover and seconder to approve the bylaws, please. Councillor Garwood and Councillor Alexander, that the bylaw listed here and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. And this is 2025-105. And this is for the parts of block 8-6 Huron Creek Phase 1C. Any question on the bylaw? Not seeing any. All those in favor? And that has carried. May I have a mover and seconder for the confirmation bylaw, please? Councillor Thompson, Councillor Moore, that bylaw 2025-106 to confirm and adopt the proceedings of council at the regular meeting held on December 17th, listed here and be signed and sealed by the mayor and clerk. All those in favor? And that has carried. And our adjournment, please. Councillor Alexander and Deputy Cabral, that the regular meeting of the Township of Springwater does now adjourn at 8:25 p.m. to meet again in regular meeting on January 21st, 2026 at 6:30 PM. All those in favor? And that has carried. Thank you.